Hello, welcome to the Rankers. I'm Kyle Wright, and with me again is Stuart McPhee. How are you, Stuart?
Kyle Wright, you son of a bitch. I am great. Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, you too. It's been a while. Sorry, everyone. We've been fairly busy in our personal lives, but we've managed to find a night that we can get together. And on this occasion, we are discussing the year of the snake, Stuart. Sounds exciting.
It does. Now, you think you came up with this idea. I quite liked it, only because it meant that we could do a bit of a potpourri in terms of our interest subjects, being films, television, music, sport. And correct me if I'm wrong, we're talking in honor of the year of the snake, being 2025,
That's right.
discussing snake related things in pop culture. Is that pretty much it?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I actually had a lot more fun coming up with my list than I thought I would. So even did some trips down good old memory lane to get stuck into the snake related ranking for today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was great. And we were talking just before we hit record. We've probably got two different ways that we've approached this, so it'll be interesting to see if we've got any overlaps. We may have one or two, but I think for the most part, it's regardless, you're going to get a good array of snake related discussion points, I guess.
That's right. All right. Well, before we get started, if you've made it this far into the podcast, we would love for you to, on our YouTube, like and subscribe, and the same on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. Every follower we get, it just helps us out ever so much more. All right. Would you like to get started with your number five there, Stuart?
Sure. I've gone with a character from the 1973 Disney Robin Hood cartoon. I don't know if you watched this cartoon growing up. I've certainly a fair bit since my daughter has now got into that realm of that sort of era of Disney, and thankfully with Disney Plus, it's all on there to see. So I've gone with the character of Sir Hiss, which is the advisor, the aide de camp, the worm tongue, if you will, of Prince John. He's a slippery, slimy bugger, um, and is one that is always trying to get one up on Robin Hood. I think he's a little bit smarter than Prince John. Prince John's as the cowardly lion is a bit of a dolt. Um, and so his being a snake is one that can escape quite quickly, but he's also one that can be tied into a knot by Little John or Robin Hood at a moment's notice. As I said, I mentioned Wormtongue. I know Wormtongue is a character in Lord of the Rings and existed before the cartoon Robin Hood from the early 70s, but there is quite a lot of the Wormtongue esque traits that are in Sir Hiss, and I wouldn't be surprised that when they came up with his character for the Peter Jackson films, that there was a lot of inspiration taken from that. So probably a bit of a left field one to start with, but yeah. So he's from 1973's Disney's Robin Hood.
Very good. And you are always known for your left field or out of the box selections there, Stuart. So why should tonight be any
Be any
different?
different? Yep.
What it's actually interesting you bring up Lord of the Rings because there is a lack of snakeness within Lord of the Rings, given how vast I don't know, the land or the area of Mordor and
And the
etc.
creatures. Yeah.
We got spiders and we had orcs and goblins and all that sort of thing, but a
Walking trees.
lack of snakes. So
Mm.
just something that got triggered
Yeah.
into my mind just then.
Yep.
All right, I as soon as I came up with this idea, obviously this one light bulbed in my head straight away, and that is snakes on a plane. Do you have that one on your list?
I don't know. No.
No, well, that's very disappointing. How could you not have a movie with a reference to snakes on a
Indeed.
plane? Without having watched it again for this podcast in particular, just rereading over the synopsis there, you've got Samuel L. Jackson, who's a law enforcement uh, person, and he's taking someone on a flight for, I think, some sort of witness to something. And of course, during the flight, there is an outbreak of snakes which happen to be on the plane. And so it is uh, I guess, you know, trying to get away from the snakes in an impossible situation, being in the air. And I think there may have even been a scene where two people were getting it on in um,
in the bathrooms.
lab, the bathroom there, and get eaten by a snake as they're getting to their business. So just something that vividly I remember from that movie. So I don't know how you could go top five here without snakes on a plane, but you've done it because you got to get those motherfucking snakes off this motherfucking plane. Pretty much, I just put it in there so I could say that.
Indeed. And I could be wrong. Was this one of those ones where they came up with the idea and then greenlit the film without any sort of script or how it was going to go? That to me sounds like what
Yeah,
occurred.
from my memory, it was, yeah, they had the idea for it. Samuel L. Jackson was attached to it, and then it was going to fold, and he essentially kept the movie afloat. That's my memory of it. It
Yeah, right.
must have
Okay.
been sort of. I think he just wanted to really say that line, which I
Yep.
think is what he's pretty much said. So,
Yeah.
just trying to pay homage to old Samuel L.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. You sort of wonder an idea like that would even get up these days, and if it did, it would be on a direct to streaming service. It wouldn't be
Yeah,
a blockbuster like it was. But no,
no.
good choice. And as you said, I had to make the list. Um, so my number four is a character played by Tom Skerritt, known as
Mm-hmm.
Commander Mike Metcalf, more popularly known as Viper from Top Gun.
Oh,
Did
lovely.
Viper make your list?
No, he did
No,
not.
he didn't. Okay, so Viper, like I said, his actual name is Mike Metcalf. That's probably mentioned once in the show. Most of the characters in Top Gun are known by their call signs. I don't know why I need to explain that to anyone. Pretty much everyone has seen Top Gun. But Skerritt plays the not only the commander, and he's also the first person to graduate from the Top Gun school back when it was first established. He also plays a mentor figure to Tom Cruise's character of Maverick, and that is because we soon find out, following a tragedy that occurs in the film. Don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it. Uh, there there's the revelation that Viper flew with Maverick's old man during Vietnam, um, and I was trying to think of why the Viper name. So if we think about, and this was my sort of thinking with my top five was around, sure they've got some sort of snake related nickname or association, but what is it that makes them snake like? And so Hiss obviously is very slippery and sneaky. With Viper, it felt very much like the type of snake that just sort of is calm, waits in the bushes in the long grass, and then attacks. And there's a scene about halfway through the film when the Top Gun crew are out there flying and doing their lessons and things for points, and then suddenly Viper's up there in the air, and that sort of it's almost like a cat amongst the pigeons or a snake amongst the chicken coop. It's all of a sudden there's holy crap, Viper's up here. How do we deal with that? Because he's now on our backside, and do we just try and escape him, or do we try and turn the tables and try and attack him? And that to me was the very essence or the viperness of Tom Skerritt's character in Top Gun.
So essentially, we've got another snake on a plane.
We do have a correct. We do have another snake on a plane. We have to get these motherfucking snakes off this motherfucking fighter pilot jet. So there you go. The
All right.
Viper. My number.
fantastic, great choice, and well explained as well. My number four, I'm actually going with Alice Cooper here. So
Ooh. Yep.
um, to it's actually this day a year ago, so 27th of April 2024, that I actually saw Alice Cooper live at the ill-fated Pandemonium Rocks festival, and him and Blondie were one of the two main acts that kind of kept that festival going amid poor ticket sales and terrible organization by the runner of it. Anyway, that's not to the point. But I've those who know me, I've been to a lot of gigs. It's one of my hobbies, and I got to say, Alice Cooper was easily the best ever gig I've been to. Just
Yep.
fantastic. Obviously, great catalog, excellent stage presence, great band. Everything was just amazing. So he's got this song. I think it's Snakebite, or might not be that song, but another song, and he pretty much does the whole song with a snake kind of, you know, writhing around his, neck and shoulders
Yep.
and arms and all that sort of thing. So just stuck out in my mind. Very reminiscent of Britney Spears, I think, in the early 2000s, who may have done a live performance with a python or something like that. So obviously, Alice Cooper, a much better performer and much more credentialed. But yeah, so I thought I'd go with Alice Cooper as my number four, one of the rock greats. And on a side note, it appears that the original Alice Cooper has reformed to write an album for the first time since the early 70s.
Right,
So
as
a
in
little
the
side note
original
there.
band members that were in.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty
So
cool.
that the band was actually first called Alice Cooper, and then once the other members left the band, then he took on the name of Alice Cooper.
Right, there you
Um,
go. Because he
so
was just
yeah,
known as his Vincent Fernie or whatever his name is.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
there you go. And I think when you mentioned Britney Spears, you reminded me. Was it in Wayne's World? And this is the Alice
Oh
Cooper.
yes,
Was it Cassandra? I think they try to do some sort of video clip shoot, and they also try and put
that's
a
right.
python on her as
Yes,
well.
yeah. While she's
And
playing
Alice,
guitar, yeah,
yeah, and Alice Cooper was
yeah,
in Wayne's World. Got to watch that again. It's been a while,
yeah,
too long.
yeah.
My number three, and really this could have been two or one, is Cobra Kai. Um,
Okay.
and not, and you could probably see popping out. It looks like I've got a Cobra Kai top on. It's actually a UMI top that's stylized like the Cobra Kai logo. Um, so there's obviously Cobra Kai the TV series, but that came from the Karate Kid trilogy. Cobra Kai being the villainous youths that accost Daniel. If you see it as it was meant to be seen as Daniel being the hero and Johnny Lawrence being the villain, but you could
So
also argue
not the
that
Barney Stinson point of view.
not the Barney Stinson point of view. Correct. And so Cobra Kai features, across all three films, mainly the first and particularly the third. And then to have what is, uh, essentially a very loose premiere of a legacy show years and years later, um, and build it around the sort of the reforming of the Cobra Kai dojos is, I think a pretty ambitious way of extending the Karate Kid universe, but I think they did it really well. And interestingly enough, in the third film, which I realize Ralph Macchio and I are the only two people that have watched the third film, at least in the last 30 years, there is a character in it called Snake, who is a sort of a henchman of Terry Silver, who works with Kreese, the guy that ran the Cobra Kai dojos. Um, and for some reason, there's no reference to Snake being called Snake because of Cobra Kai is just called Snake. So extra points there, I guess. But yeah, Cobra Kai, they did good work. They did good work. They got their asses beat by a 70-year-old Japanese guy, but here we are. Cobra Kai, my number
Very
three.
good. Apparently, there's a new Karate Kid movie coming out as well. Saw that.
Yeah, I think it. I think it sort of connects the Jackie Chan one with
Mm,
the Ralph Macchio one, so that'll be interesting.
yes,
Don't know if my boy Billy Zabka, who plays Johnny Lawrence, is in that, but guess we'll see. Guess we'll see.
lovely. All right. What am I up to? Number three.
You know,
I'm going to go with Anaconda. Have you seen? Have you got Anaconda on your list?
I don't. It's been a while since I've seen it. Is that Jennifer Lopez? I
Jennifer
think.
Lopez. Yes.
Mm,
So a little bit of a backstory here. My son, who's 13, turning 14 this year, my wife and I have been trying to educate him with some Gen X movies there. This is probably more late Gen X, more into the um, Xennial stage. But anyway, so we put on Anaconda and wasn't as bad as I remember it. I remember it being quite bad, but it wasn't too bad. So um, Owen Wilson is in this one, um, and there's a few other uh, actors who are now more well known than they were when they were originally in this one.
yeah.
And of course, you've got Jennifer Lopez, who is the I guess the draw card actor or actress in this one. We've got the story of going through. I think it's the Amazon, and much like a Jaws or something like that. We've got the Anaconda as the main villain here, slowly taking down people one by one. And of course, these types of movies, you've got some infighting as well, and some uh, dastardly deeds being done by people on the boat as well. So basically, it's just a fight for survival in the Amazon. So I've
Very
got
good.
Anaconda at number three.
Excellent. And I think I'd heard that you mentioned about Karate Kid getting a new film. I thought I heard something about Anaconda maybe getting that they're going to reboot that. Uh,
Pretty sure there is a Anaconda sequel.
oh,
Obviously,
okay.
no one's seen that, but yes, I have heard that there is a reboot in the
Yeah.
works.
I reckon because of sort of the success of Twister when they remade that they're going, okay, well, what else happened in the mid to late '90s that we can try and reboot that's sort of disaster ridden. I mean, I know there's I know you know what you did last summer. There's a version of that coming out this year, so
Mm,
uh, they've I think they've tapped into a pretty good market there with those mid '90s films. So
yeah,
um,
just
Did Hayden
watch.
enjoy it?
Yes, he did, and just watched the Twisters sequel last weekend. So it
Oh
was
yeah,
actually a really good movie.
very good,
I really enjoyed it.
excellent.
All right,
Um,
your number two.
my number two is I'm gonna swap them around. No, I'm gonna keep it. Mine is the Black Mamba,
Okay,
Kobe
yeah,
Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. Yep.
So my understanding is this is a uh, self-attained nickname, or he gave it to himself.
Does that
Uh,
count then?
I think it does in that he was
Well,
able to.
can't give yourself a nickname.
Well, I agree, but it's one of the only ones I know that has stuck. You know,
Hmm.
uh, yeah. So
It's sorry, I'm off
yeah.
to an aside here. This is a pet peeve of mine: is when people give themselves their own nickname or
Mm,
refer to themselves with their own nickname. For example, if you've ever seen Mitch Marsh in a Big Bash commentary session, he's always referring to himself as the Bison, and I'm like, mate, you can't call yourself your own nickname. That has to be
mm.
something that other people do for you. But anyway, I
Yeah,
digress. Continue. So I just had to get
yeah.
that out there.
No, that's fair enough. I think the only allowance for that is if you're in a just say a text exchange with someone and they call you that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So with me, I've unfortunately got a slew of nicknames, and it's often hard to keep up with which people call me what. So usually it's Disco or McFizzle is the other one. Um, so yeah, I'll if I'm doing some sort of text exchange, particularly for someone I haven't spoken to in a while, I'll add McFizzle or Disco at the end if that's yeah,
Fair enough.
that's who.
I'll,
But yes,
I'll
I
let that
agree.
one pass.
Yeah, but yeah, self described nicknames or calling yourself that nickname is not on. But well, Kobe's the exception. Why is he the exception? He's a 5-time NBA champion. He can do what the hell he wants. He's one of the very few that stayed at his own team. I know he got initially drafted to Charlotte and then he never played for them. It was all done on draft night or shortly after. Um,
Did demand a trade though, didn't he?
I think he did, but in the end he stayed, and
Yeah.
you can't say that about many of them these days. It's it's your Tim Duncans, it's your Steph Currys, and Steph Curry may still even do a season elsewhere. Who knows?
Mm.
I doubt it, but the list is very short these days. Anyway, 5-time NBA champion. Yeah, so he took on the Black Mamba mantle, my understanding, because he drew inspiration from the Quentin Tarantino film Kill Bill. There was the assassin Viper team, and they had different code names. And Uma Thurman's character was called the Black Mamba. Um, and apparently Kobe liked the snake's agility and ferocity, and he saw the name as a way to embody that sort of style as a way to split his on court and off court persona. So there you go. That's
Yeah.
the Black Mamba, and of course, if you think about it, whether it was for that or whether it was we need something to sell sneakers and t-shirts. There's Air Jordan, there's Larry Legend, there's all those things. Having a nickname like that is quite helpful.
Well, he was probably the biggest player to come through when having a brand was something you needed from the start of your career. So,
Yes.
whereas Jordan kind of lent into that, he kind of had it from the start of his career. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I sort of created the idea of that. If you think about it. But yeah, so Kobe at number two.
lovely. Before we actually, I got my number two now. So I'm actually going to the world of literature here. Um, and I'm going to the Harry Potter series, which
Mm-hmm.
I only just started a couple of years ago. So, backstory: student gave me the book because he was a huge Harry Potter fan. Gave me the book for a Christmas present. So I'm like, oh, I've got to read it now after having kept myself away from it for so long. And I only just on the weekend just gone finished the final book. So going with Nagini there, who is the he who shall not be named, or Voldemort's um, final Horcrux there for
Yep.
hopefully not giving away any spoilers for anyone who, like me, got onto the game a bit late. Obviously, literature then into the movie series as well, but obviously, the being the final Horcrux there and sort of like the sidekick of Voldemort there, obviously playing a pivotal role in that whole series of stories there.
Yep.
So there's my number two.
Very good. And then you've got the association with the speaking in parcel tongue, which is sort of that snake
Yes.
style language. And am I right thinking Slytherin has as the mascot
Yes.
is the snake as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. Don't come to us for the Harry Potter trivia. Come to us for the text. So did you enjoy reading the books?
I did actually. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um, some parts were a bit hard to get through, but overall it was a good series.
Excellent. And had you watched them all as well or
No,
not?
I hadn't seen the films either.
Okay. And have you started watching those or?
Yeah, so I read a book and then watched a movie.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. And so we're not here to rank the Harry Potter films, but did you have a particular favorite? Because my wife and I have
Uh,
a favorite.
haven't watched
The last
the just started the Deathly Hollows Part One the other night. I
one. Yep.
haven't finished that yet.
Yep.
Probably, ooh, probably the Order of the Phoenix might be the my favorite so far.
Yep. Very good.
We'll see.
Yeah, ours is we're a Prisoner of Azkaban house
Oh
here.
yeah,
Quite
yeah,
like that
that
one.
is a good one too.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do
so
you have,
my
before
number
we get
one.
to our number ones,
Yes.
do you have any honourable mentions?
Yeah, so I had what else was on my list? I wanted to do a music one, and I didn't in the end, so that's giving away my number one. I did have Rattlesnake by Live,
Oh,
the
nice.
opening track from Secret Samadhi.
What's that?
Um, So that was on there. Um, Jake the Snake Roberts, who was a wrestler, who I think his main move, apart from having a pretty good DDT finishing move, was he'd just drop his snake into the ring and that would freak everyone out. Um, and I had the Stallone movie Cobra was
Oh
also
yeah.
on there. Um, there was one or two others, but yeah, that were the main honourable mentions. And yourself?
I had Snake Eyes, the
Yep.
Nick Cage movie. I had a few movies on there, so I decided not to add that in there. Also, Snake from, is it Escape to New York? Escape from New
Mm,
York,
yes,
the Kurt Russell film.
that's my number one.
Which
Can we talk about it?
ah, let's go for it then.
Yeah, Snake Plissken from Escape from New York, the 1981 John Carpenter film. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it is one of the great premises of all time, which is
Yes,
he's he's a former special forces, military type who is rotting away in prison in New York, which is basically turned into a huge island prison. Um, but he's been tapped on the shoulder to rescue the president of the United States. From memory, Air Force One is hijacked,
correct.
um, and if he's successful, then he gets a pardon. Like that is that is beautiful. That is what you want from a film. It done on a very very low budget. Um,
Which I think makes the film, to be honest.
Absolutely, yeah. Kurt Russell just
He's
he
fantastic.
had the knack of getting some really great roles in the '80s, like Big Trouble in Little China as well, and Overboard, and all that sort of stuff. And and then did a less than successful sequel in the '90s, Escape from
Escape
LA,
from LA. Yeah.
but has the great scene of him getting through the next stage of his escape from LA by in full leather gear shooting baskets. And he's certainly not a doesn't have great form as a basketballer, but gets all his shots in and gets on to the next stage. But yeah, Snake Plissken, one of the great action heroes of all time, and I'm surprised they didn't make 20 more of these, to be honest. But I think the fact that there is only two films makes his character all the more iconic. So yeah, Snake
Yeah.
Plissken was my number one.
Oh, what a great choice.
Mm.
And Kurt Russell was just so good at those sorts of, brash, sarcastic sort of,
Yeah,
roles. Yeah.
and I've been watching him again recently because with Val Kilmer's passing, I rewatched Tombstone, and
Hmm.
Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp is. It's one of those things that if Kilmer wasn't in it and wasn't so good as Doc Hollywood, sorry, Doc Holliday, not Doc Hollywood the film, that's a different thing entirely, as Doc Holliday, um, then it would be an absolute banger of a Kurt Russell performance because he's so good in it. Um, so he sort of gets overshadowed by Val Kilmer in that, which is a shame. But yeah, always loved him in anything that he did. So yeah,
Excellent. Oh, what a great number one. Um, Now, my number one,
yes,
I had totally forgotten about it until I was doing my research. And one of my honorable mentions is also 24. So, and I seem to remember in 24, Jack Bauer had a sort of tattoo, and it
hmm
was, I seem to remember being snake, but it wasn't. And then for some secret, CIA agency or whatever, and then that sort of led me down this loophole, or not loophole, wormhole or whatever it is called, and I ended up going with my number one as Indiana Jones,
yep,
who has a fear of snakes. So we've got
yep,
Indiana Jones, the archaeologist, goes everywhere, anywhere under caves, in there, out there, but rats is fine, underground water's fine, but come near a snake, and so I just that's probably just a throwback to my childhood and growing up with the Indiana Jones films, and just so funny that this manly brash man all of a sudden comes across a snake, and that's his sort of like kryptonite. So
yeah,
I think particularly, is it the second film where uh, he accidentally finds like a cave in the, and then they go in and he's with the blonde haired lady. I can't remember the
And then he
character's
pulls
name.
in. He says it's just a snake. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So she's got no problem with the snakes, but he can't handle them. So I thought
yeah,
that would be an apt choice for my number one snake related um, pop culture reference. What do you think?
excellent. No, no, that's a real good choice. I when you first came up with the idea of the topic, because you having mentioned Indiana Jones now, you've reminded me. That was one of the first things I sort of thought about as a hey, that'd be a cool thing to do. And then as over the last couple of weeks putting the work in, getting the short list together, I completely forgot about it. And now that you've mentioned, it's like, yeah, that's really good. To I don't, and the thing is, I don't know if they end up mentioning the snake thing in after the second film. Like I know in like Last Crusade, he talks about how his dad hated rats. Um, but I don't think there's any snake related stuff after that. Maybe they decided there was no longer required as the bit.
Yeah,
But yeah, certainly you know the snake in the plane again at the start of Raiders of the Lost Ark when he's pulling it out of his pants, I think. And then yeah, in the tomb in the city where in the map room, I think it is.
I think
Um,
there's also rattlesnake some part in the Indiana Jones films as well. I think, and he might shoot it or something. But
oh yeah,
yeah,
actually, in Last Crusade, um, yes, when River Phoenix, as young Indiana Jones, is on the train, so it's snakes on a train this time. But yeah, he falls into the pit of snakes, and then I think that was sort of the origin story of how he got
yeah,
scared of it, because I think like not 10 minutes before then, uh, he's really tough, and he says to his friend, "It's just a snake," and then he falls into the whole pit of snakes, and I think that's what it was. So yeah, it is mentioned in the third film, but no, very
there
good
we
choice,
go.
good
Who
work,
needs IMDb when you've got Stuart McPhee?
sure.
All
But
right.
great choice, well done on your number one, sir.
Yeah. Well, we hope you've enjoyed our countdown there of the top five pop culture references to Snake, being the year of the snake. If you agree, disagree, got some other ideas, is there anything we've completely forgotten about that we should have included, or are some of those selections ridiculous and not even close to a top five? Please let us know. We've
Yep,
hit us up on the socials, Facebook, YouTube comments, anything like that,
yep,
and we'll talk about it in our next episode if there are any comments or questions or anything like that.
yep. Let us
Now,
know why we didn't include Snake from The Simpsons, which was
oh
one that we
yes,
should have. That was also
there
on
we go.
my honorable mentions.
Now I'm doing a bit of presuming here, Stuart, but given
Mm,
that we have on May 17th is the release of the new and possibly last Mission Impossible movie, is there a
mm.
chance that maybe not the next rankings episode, but a near future rankings episode could include the ranking of the Mission Impossible movies?
Have you been looking at my binge viewing at the moment, sir? Yeah, I've actually been spending along with looking up snake related things. I've been going through the MI films over the last week or so. I've just finished Ghost Protocol, which means
Okay.
I did endure Mission Impossible 2
I'm
again.
struggling to get through that one.
It's rough. It's rough out there, kids. Um, that's us, that's putting in the hours. That's grinding, crushing tape for you. Um, yeah, MI2 is rough, and we'll have plenty to talk about on that one. Yeah, no, I think that will absolutely be a future episode. The only spanner in the works is for me, as a programming note. Um, I've got some surgery to go into a couple of days before the Final Reckoning comes out. So
Okay.
my ability to watch the Final Reckoning pretty quickly is going to be dashed a little bit. So we'll see. But I will have watched all the others before then. So, but it'll be interesting to see where it ends up sitting in the rankings of the Mission Impossible films. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you are
Yes.
too.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait. I may even indulge in some gold class
Ah, mad if you don't,
too.
sir.
Exactly.
Mad if you don't.
All right. Anything else we need to talk about before we wrap this up?
No, actually, we'll see if we, depending on timing, we may come up with something else before the Mission Impossible rankings, but that will certainly be on the agenda as soon as we can.
Of course, if you've made it this far through the episode, obviously you're a diehard Rankers fan, so please send through your suggestions. More than happy to take suggestions from you and rank something that you'd like us to have a go at.
Indeed,
Uh, we kept that at around the 36-minute mark there, Stuart. That must be some sort of record for us. So
I think so.
hope you've enjoyed the short and sharp ranking tonight.
Indeed, that's been good.
All right, just remember, you got to keep them separated.
Indeed, thanks, Carl.
Righto. Thanks, everyone. Bye.